Man, that electric over hydraulic control on the 3-point, it's so smooth the way it goes up and down and how precise you can stop it. The lift height on this is way higher than I'm used to. See if we can get up under the tractor and take a look at everything. I mean, that sucker looks jackknifed. Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farm, and today I want to make a video about the tractor that I wish I had. And this tractor is in such high demand that they can't even keep them in stock. Now, the way I know that that demand is real is because I'm partnered with the tractor yard, and he lets me use his equipment to make videos. And I've been trying for, I don't know, 2 months now to get access to a 4058, and they can't keep them in stock. Basically, the only way I could get access to a machine is to borrow one that someone's already paid for. And the tractor I'm talking about is the TYM 4058P. Now, this is a new model from TYM, but not really. 90% of the features of this tractor, the size, the specs, everything about it, is the legacy Branson 5835 that's been around for a long time. The 4058P introduced some upgrades and gave this tractor what it always needed, which is a cab option. This is the largest tractor that you can get from TYM in an open station. So if you're a guy who wants an open station and you want to save that money on the cab option, the 4058 is the biggest, most powerful model you can get that does that. Now, why do I say I wish I had this tractor? Well, the irony is I was shopping for a tractor like this before I had a big YouTube channel with sponsorships and everything. I bought a John Deere tractor just with my own money, and I was looking for something that could handle more weight because I had a small tractor. I couldn't pick up logs. I couldn't unload freight. I couldn't do all of the brute force things that I needed to do. And I said, the solution is to get a big utility tractor. And I went and got quotes for a John Deere 5E and some of the different models. And I went to a different dealership that I had no affiliation with, and I got a price on a 5835 because this is a brute force machine for what I needed to do. It can lift 3,450 pounds on the front end loader and 4,500 pounds on the rear. And with the gear drive, you've got all that power to push and pull. And this would have solved my problems at a lot lower price. And it's got a crazy tight turning radius. But the downside to me is I wanted a cab model, and what I ended up buying was a John Deere skid steer. Because I got all of those same things with even more lift power. I got the heated and air conditioned cab, but it also gave me, you know, the grading functionality of a skid steer and the high flow hydraulics and all of those things. But there you're talking about this machine's under $40,000, and I spent $100,000 on the skid steer. So it's not even in the same family. Now the irony here is me saying I wish I had this tractor when all I had to do was ask for it. When I made my deal with the tractor yard, they said pick any tractor you want from any of the 3 brands that they carry, and they would set me up with it. I get to use it on my channel. And I almost went with this model, but I didn't because it didn't have a cab, and because at the time it was going to be my only machine. And my concern with a machine like this is it's not a hydrostat. It's not available in a hydrostat because it's a utility tractor. So if this is your only machine and you're doing a lot of dirt work and things like that, it's less convenient having a shuttle shift. But the way I use my tractor today, this would be perfect. So the way I use my tractor today is it picks up the heavy stuff that my little machines can't. It runs the baler, it does brush cutting on fields, and for all of those things, this machine would do it better than the tractor I have. The only advantage that the 574 has over this is that the hydrostat is more convenient for stop and start repetitive work like that. So if this is your only machine, I might tend towards a hydrostat. But if you have other machines to move dirt and work inside tight spaces, then a machine like this could be the answer for you. Now, the crazy thing about the 4058 is that this is a utility tractor. This is a big, powerful machine, but it has a crazy tight turning radius. So the turning radius on this machine when using the split brakes is 107 inches, which is about 9 feet. Now, any tractor is going to list turning radius with the split brakes and without. So you're adding another 18 inches or something if you do it without using the brakes. But I looked up split brake turning radius on a bunch of different machines. This one is 107 inches with the brakes. That is a foot less than the 574. It's considerably less than the John Deere equivalent. It's less than almost any other machine that I could find in this size range. So if you need that tight turning radius on a big machine, this is going to be it. So this is a 58 horsepower from TYM. It's got the same mechanically fuel injected Kook J engine that my 574 has, but this one has a bigger turbocharger on it and is actually going to put out a little more power. But the big difference you're going to notice in this, in terms of power, is that it's a shuttle shift. You're not sacrificing your power to that hydrostatic transmission. Now it has the same size tire on the back, that 16.9 by 24, which is a huge tire for a hydrostat, but it's a little bit smaller for a utility tractor. Now the big difference you're going to see here is that you have dramatically bigger front tires. I mean, the front tires on mine are like this. You've got much larger front tire, much larger, heavier built front axle to support that extra carrying capacity. But this is still a four-wheel drive tractor. So we're getting ready to jump on this thing and run it, but we'll take a look around it just a little bit more. First thing you notice is that wider double step on both sides of the tractor, which I'm not even grabbing anything. I can walk up that comfortably. This is big and roomy, and I've been in the cab version of it, and it's the same. It's a big, roomy cab, and it's comfortable to get in and out of. You know, if you're 6'5" and 340 pounds, you could still be comfortable in a cab like this. I'm gonna do a comparison between this and their next larger size, which is the 574. The 574 is actually a new model also, but it is a variant of the 754. See where the hood release is. Okay, so there's our hood release. Got the battery right there in the front, wide open, easy to access. There's your air filter. Your radiator has a lot more room in front of it. That's one thing that I don't love on my tractor, is you don't have much access in here, and this screen being removable doesn't do you any good if you can't get access in front of it. So that's a better design to me. Hey, there's your oil fill, there's your filter, there's your oil check, your water separator. You've got a lot more room in here to access everything. So if you do a lot of brush cutting in dry, windy conditions, or you're baling hay, you know that one of the biggest hassles of the entire process is keeping your radiator cleaned out so that your machine doesn't overheat. And any machine will overheat if you don't let air pass through the radiator. That's not a brand thing. So you know it's gonna happen. You need a way to clean it out. Let's take a look under the machine. So here's our loader mast. It's connected here to a rail that runs back under the rear axle. Let's see if we can get under here and take a look. All right, see if we can get up under the tractor and take a look at everything. So this frame right here connects your loader bracket back under the axle to tie everything together. Okay, we've got our telescoping stabilizers. We have our extendable draft arms. Those are a big deal. Look at the size of this lift cylinder. And it would have to be, you got two giant lift cylinders on the back. When you're talking about being rated for 4,500 pounds, it's gonna take a big cylinder to do that. So I'm always asking that any machine I look at has the telescoping stabilizers and the extendable draft arms, but also a way to raise and lower the machine when you're not on the tractor. And I was about to say that's missing here, and the Tractor Yard on some of their models has built a kit so you could add it, but I'm wrong, because it's right here and it looks like it's electronic. It comes standard with 2 sets of rear remotes. The open station has a set of mirrors down here. I'm sure you've got more mirrors than that on the cab model. If this thing wasn't in such high demand, we would look at both of them today, but they can't keep the cab models in stock. So let's look over this thing. You got your lights down here. You've got a sensitivity control for your forward and reverse. That's interesting. I don't know if that's the amount of coast or how that works. Here's your 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive selector. Down here you've got your PTO lever. Your 3 ranges here, A, B, neutral, and C. This is your emergency brake. This is a shuttle shift, which means, and pop this to forward, reverse, forward, neutral, reverse. So you've got basically 3 clutches on a tractor like this. You've got your foot clutch here, and this, it's not a clutch, but this lets you put it in neutral. And then you've got an electronic clutch right here so that you can hold that in, and while you're moving, you can switch between the gears within a range. And you have to stop to change ranges, but this is like an electronic shift on the fly for the gear selector. This is choosing what type of PTO operation you want to run, whether you want the independent or the auto. I always run the independent on my tractor, but then you've got a separate control here for your PTO, and you have to do both. And you've got your 2 controls here for your 2 rear remotes. Those are in a good position. These, it looks like a coast control on the stop and a rate of drop control. But I don't know what these 2 are, so I think I'll get someone from inside the dealership to explain that to me. Now what I do know is that you've got a manual throttle here where you can set your throttle at a minimum position. You can throttle it all the way up and just leave it throttled all the way up. Or you can set your throttle on low and vary your throttle as you drive with a foot throttle. The steering wheel is adjusted. Now, I stepped through here with it halfway, but it can come down further or it can go up further. So I got the salesman out here, and I'm gonna repeat whatever he says, and that'll let me act smart. So we have a sensitivity control knob right here. Is that like the amount of coast in your shifting here, or yeah, what is that one?
It's basically how much clutch you're going to have. So if you're in a high gear in a high range and you have that turned up all the way to fast, you'll get sort of a jerk when you engage your PTO or your shuttle shift lever here. Whereas it's in slow, it'll kind of ease your clutch out and make it a little bit smoother for you when you decide to go forward or backwards.
Okay. Then we've got a stop valve here. Is this like draft control?
No, not necessarily. It's just a kind of a manual stop that you can put. So if you have a specific implement that yeah, I guess it could act like a draft control, yeah.
But so primarily, this is your raise and lower for your 3-point.
Correct.
So this is a electric over hydraulic as opposed to just a straight manual control lever like this.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So it's going to give you a little bit more precise control.
Exactly.
Now, some people may like or dislike having a manual control versus an electronic, but this should be more precise. That is if you have a set point, like this is set here, and you say, I don't want to change where I'm set at, but I want to go up and down, and it'll return to that spot.
Yep. And then you'll have some, here's how your sensitivity control for your 3-point, so how fast or slow you'll raise your 3-point there. And then I believe this one is going to be your draft control. And
so my takeaway from looking at this is that if you want more precise control, you want draft control, you want all those things, it's here. And then this, I thought this was your rate of drop on your 3-point.
Now this is going to be a setting that goes in conjunction with this function here. Now this is a turn back 3-point, so you can actually set how high or low your 3-point will go when you have this engaged when you turn to a certain radius. So that's what that is. So for a lot of tilling and things like that, or a plow, if you get to the end of the row and you start to turn your steering wheel, this will automatically raise your 3-point to whatever height that you have it set at.
Yeah, so these are great applications for someone who is, actually farming and doing a whole field, and you want to be consistent with the way you raise and lower that. And do you want your PTO to keep running as you turn around, or do you want to shut it off? So you've got a lot of control of that sort of thing with a tractor like this.
And this is the same kind of function as this one, but just for your reverse. So it's the same function, but when you go in reverse, how high or low do you want that 3-point to raise automatically on its own?
All right, clutch in, start it up. Man, that electric over hydraulic control on the 3-point, it's so smooth the way it goes up and down and how precise you can stop it. And then there are all those fine-tuned adjustments you can make too. All right, now we're at idle. The loader's pretty slow, which the loader is definitively always going to be slower at idle. But let's see how it feels trying to do two functions at idle. I'm able to dump and drop at the same time. Can I lift and curl? Yes, I can do both of those at the same time, but it's kind of awkward. It's kind of slow. Let's do it at a higher idle. People always ask me, will this do two functions at once? And I say, every tractor I've ever been on will do two functions at once. It's how smooth and how easy it is. You have to be real precise with the way you feather into it. That works pretty well. The hydraulics on the loader feel good, and when you idle up, when you throttle up, you get pretty quick movements with the loader. So now we're going to put it into B range. We're going to put this on forward. Oh, it's beeping because I've got the parking brake on. Rookie. All right, so now I'm in A range. I think I'm in 4. And it's just creeping. If I can use the foot throttle to pick up a little bit of speed. Now I want to back up. Go forward. Nice and easy. Let's put it into B range and see how it shifts on the fly. Let's go, we're in B1, so that I call that like 5th gear. Get moving. Then I'm gonna hit the button and drop it into 2, 3. All right, this is kind of a short runway, so I got into 3rd here. We'll turn around. There's 3 to 4. Yep, no problem. That's going pretty quick right there in B range. This is a lot faster than medium range in 574. Wow, look at that. I gotta show that. Let's put this in neutral. So when I was listing off the turning radiuses, it's not as impressive as seeing how far the wheel will rotate. I mean, that sucker looks jackknifed. Now I might be cautious about turning that tight if I've got 3,500 pounds up in the air, but man, look at the way that sucker will turn. Now my buddy Daniel at Arms Family Homestead ran this model of tractor for years. It was the 5835, and to my knowledge, he never had much of any problems with this tractor. With the extra lift capacity on this, you also get a lot of extra lift height. This one will lift to 11 feet, I believe. So really high lift height. Let's lift it up there. So I can stand and reach 8 feet. The lift height on this is way higher than I'm used to. So this has more lift capacity and a tighter turning radius than most of the competitors, but as normal, what stands out to me about TYM is that they're giving you all that at a great price. This tractor right here, the way you see it, is $38,000, which is a heck of a deal for a machine with that kind of capability. The cab model is going to be more like $44,000. And you can get that from the tractor yard at that price with a $1 per mile shipping. I believe he's extended that out, that if you're a little further away and you want to order a tractor from the tractor yard at these great prices, That $1 per mile shipping, I believe, now applies to any TYM model, and that it also would be the Branson. It's a heck of a deal. You might want to check it out. So I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.